Hi everyone, it's Sam and I'm back with another video for lawnfawn. Today I'm making a card using the new A Mole Lotta Love Critter Conversation Hearts, Little Woodland Library, the pop-up platform die, and the pop-up platform cloud inserts die. I'm using Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers to color all of my images. I'm starting by coloring the moles. They're adorable. I'm using platinum brown, light gray, and light beige. And this is basically how I color most of my images usually. I did change it up a little bit. Just because I use these markers so often, I know which ones work better together and which ones work better, with certain techniques. Anyway, I'm starting by using the middle color, the light gray. Then over that, I'm using the platinum brown, which is the darker, pulling it back out with the light gray, and then using the lightest, which is actually a light beige, not even a gray, to pull out the whole rest of the color. So it kind of gives these moles like a soft grayish kind of look. I love the look of like the gray and the beige together. I've been doing it recently, and I just thought these moles would be like the perfect little the perfect little excuse to do that. Next, I'm going to use mustard, my trusty handy dandy mustard, to color the little muzzles and paws of the moles. And I'm not using any other colors for this little detail of the images. I do go over each area twice. First time I go over just where I want the shaded areas. Then I use a slightly damp water brush to pull out the color and then color the rest. And then I go back over and color them all again with the same marker. Next, I'm using light carmine and pale orange for the noses, and of course, the pink cheeks. It just instantly transformed them into even cuter, so I had to. I couldn't resist. I am using green, May green, and yellow green for the leaves and also the worms. I was going to color the worms brown because most worms are brown in real life. However, I was thinking about what my end card would look like, and it was a lot of brown. I knew the base was going to be brown. The moles have brown. These dirt piles are going to be brown, so I decided to color them green. And I do love how they turned out. Green is tricky for me. I don't know if anyone remembers my zombie fish that I colored one time, but so yeah, I do like how these little worms turned out. And of course I had to add pink cheeks with the same colors to these guys as well. All right, now we're going to color the mud with dark brown, mustard, and light beige. Per usual, I like to use the same colors the same color markers in my images, just with different accompanying markers. So this is basically how I color most of my images, is the darkest, then the medium, then the light. So I'm just using the dark brown, pulling it out with the mustard, and then blending it all together with the light beige. Next, I'm going to use a bunch of different reds and pinks. First, I'm going to use carmine red and vanilla for just a few of these little flowers. I decided they were flowers. And just barely any coloring on these because they're so tiny. Next, I'm just using the scarlet red and pink flamingo for the other flowers. I am using light gray, which is the same as I used on the mole for the shovel, and dark brown, which is the same colors I used for the dirt and mud. Next is pink and pale orange. And this is my favorite pink combination. I am just starting to move and color all the hearts different colors. So I've already shown these reds. This is the same color combination I used for the flowers. And this is light carmine and light beige. And then next is, again, pink and pale orange. And that's all the images. I love how they complement each other, and they're going to just pop on this card. I can't wait. Next, I'm just showing that I die cut 2 pieces from Vanilla Malt cardstock with the platform pop-up die. I did cut 3 with the T-shape, 3 T's, and then I am showing you that I cut with the cloud add-on. I cut just the first layer of the cloud, so it would look like a big pile of dirt. It's all cut from vanilla malt, which I thought would help do less ink blending. However, welcome to the ink blending show, starring me and vanilla malt. I am doing all the ink blending, but you know I love it. So anyway, I started by using Vintage Photo, and I'm just going along all the edges with Vintage Photo and then fossilized amber, and then I go back and I use walnut stain, then Vintage Photo, fossilized amber. I repeat, repeat, repeat. So it gets nice and saturated, and I really do. This is my favorite color combination for any kind of sand or dirt. So yeah, this is all the same. Vintage Photo along the edges, fossilized amber to bring it all together along the edges with walnut stain, and then blending it all back out with Vintage Photo and fossilized amber. And next I'm going to color the pop-up clouds add-on that I die cut from Vanilla Malt. Same way. Vintage Photo, fossilized amber, walnut stain for all of these, except they're not going to be clouds. They're going to be little piles of dirt or mud, whatever floats your boat. In this case, these moles are just happy to have something to dig around in. And I'm not done. The ink blending is done, and it would look great here. However, I am me, and so we got to splatter. And boy, are we. We are splattering up everything. I'm using the same colors that I ink blended with walnut stain, Vintage Photo, fossilized amber, and water. And I am splattering all over all of the, I'm going to call them dirt piles. They're no longer clouds. And the 2 pop-up platforms. I am rinsing my brush in between each color. So first I did walnut stain. This right here is Vintage Photo. I'm making sure I get a little bit everywhere. I rinse it off, and now I'm going to use fossilized amber and splatter that everywhere. And that looks good enough. I mean, that looks good. However, I take it to the next step with some white acrylic ink on top as well. And I just splatter that everywhere, and it gets nice and messy and inky and like dirt. And then I set it aside to dry. And while that dries, there we go, I'm just heat embossing part of the sentiment. And it just says, I love you. And I'm heat embossing it in white onto black licorice cardstock, and then I'm going to just trim it out into a strip. Next, we're going to actually make the card. I am folding along all of the crease lines of the platform pop-up die set that we cut, folding them away from me, I guess, towards each other. I'm not sure of the verbiage, but I'm just folding along each of the lines. I do use my bone folder to make it nice and crisp. And I'm also going to fold over on these T-shaped dies. There is a little score line at the bottom that we're going to add some adhesive, and I'm just folding those over as well. I end up only needing 2 because I am using the cloud insert pop-up add-on. I don't need the 3. So here we go. We're going to add the adhesive. I'm using 1/4 inch adhesive, sure. And I'm putting that along the tabs of both platform pop-up dies, as well as the little foldy tab of the T-shaped die that we cut. Then I'm going to pull off the release paper on the T-shape, stick it through the slot, and then take it out and then flip it around because we need it to stick to the bottom of the card. And then I am going to make sure that the T is nice and tight, fold it over, remove the release paper from the flap of the platform, and then fold it up. Does that make sense? Let's look at it one more time. Taking off the release paper of the T-shape, putting it through the hole, pulling it nice and tight so that it is flat. Then I am removing the release paper from the top of the platform flap, folding it up over and then holding it down so it gets nice and adhered. Next, we're going to add some adhesive to the side panels. Same exact way, removing it. I'm going to line up the two borders so they are even. Fold over the flap. Guys, pause. Pause. This is where I forget something real quick, but don't worry. You do want to remove the release paper. Eventually you will fold it over like a book, but look, I immediately remember, wait, I need to add my cloud/dirt insert. So I just add tape to both sides of this cloud shape, line it up so that the pile of dirt/cloud is even with the platform. So once that's all adhered, I can fold it over like a book, and voila, our platform pop-up is together. It's so easy to come together. Imagine if you just used pattern paper and didn't even ink blend. This would be done in minutes. But yeah, look at that. All done. Now I'm going to add the other smaller dirt piles that we ink blended. I'm just adding some 1/4 inch tape. Sure, we'll say 1/4 inch. To both of the panels. The back one was tricky. I figured it out though. And there we go. Look at it. It's done. And it pops up and it folds down. And now is the fun part. Now is where we can decorate. It looks like I have already added it, but I haven't. I've lightly placed these images where I want them to be. So I could picture it. And to save time. This is like the longest part of the video is me putting this together. I love all of these little images. Each mole is so cute, which by the way, I did Google them to see how to color them. They're not as cute in real life to me. I'm sure there is a mole lover out there and I applaud you. To me, lawnfawn moles win every time. They're so cute. These are, especially that little guy with his glasses, and I gave him a little worm to hug because the little heart sentiment I end up using says, I like worm hugs. Now I can't say warm or worm. Wow. I've just totally tongue-tied myself. Anyway, he's hugging the worm and I love it. And this card literally cracks me up. I love each little guy has a little friend or flower to be excited about. I love the ones peeking out, especially of the dirt. They are just so fun. And I wanted to use all these images, but it was it was a little too much even for me, but I could not resist adding a worm to the top of the heart and also one little one on the back, just as a little peekaboo. And there we go. I love you a mole lot. Hello, adorable. And then it says, I like worm hugs. Worm hugs. Yeah. Okay. Said it. I love the dimension. I love how cute this is. Please be sure to check it out on the lawnfawn blog. And I hope you had a great time watching me create this fun, exciting card. Have a great day. Bye.